What's going on, everybody? QWERTYQ here. And today I wanted to bring you something a little different. I wanted to talk about Game of Thrones. So, we're just about to see the season finale of season 6 of Game of Thrones, and I wanted to talk about some symbology that I may have noticed. I recently started listening to the first book, and obviously I'm watching the show. So, what I noticed in season 1, right, and the first book, there's a dead direwolf that the Starks find. Robb finds him, and Bran really wants to keep the direwolf, and Ned Stark lets him keep him. And also, all the Stark children get a direwolf. Robb, Bran, Rickon, Sansa, and Arya, and then Jon finds Ghost, but he's the runt of the litter, right? He's a different color than all of them, so he is a direwolf, but he's different. And another thing with the direwolf, it was killed by a stag. There was a antler like broken off in its neck. That's how the direwolf died. And I think that's kind of symbolical to how King Robert Baratheon came in, got Ned Stark and part of his family to come to King's Landing, and then inevitably they kind of got screwed. Ned Stark got beheaded. Arya's been on the run. Sansa has been just tortured for a while now. And Jon Snow, even though he's been he's been a Stark, and Ned Stark always said he's my son, and he's a Stark, even though he didn't have the name, but he's just kind of off. And now I think everybody's heard of the R plus L equals J, and that's the Rhaegar Targaryen plus Lyanna Stark equals Jon Snow theory. And that, I think, comes into there being 3 dragons that Daenerys receives as a gift for her wedding with Khal Drogo, and then brings them into the fire, and they become live dragons. And she's the only one, now that her brother's dead, she's the only Targaryen left. But I think that might not be true, because so if the Jon Snow R plus L equals J theory is correct, then Jon is also a Targaryen. He's half Targaryen, half Stark. And I think that kind of makes sense of why his direwolf isn't the same as the rest of the Stark children's, because he isn't completely a Stark like they are. And he's not actually Ned Stark's son, he's his nephew. But he is still a Stark. That's why there still was a direwolf. But he's not a bastard. So I think he's truly a Targaryen, and that would account for another one of the dragons. So that's 2 of the 3 dragons that we see in Game of Thrones. Now, this is the thing that I haven't really heard anybody else say yet. I kind of think that Lord Varys might also be a Targaryen, because we've never really got any info on his family history, really like who he was or where he came from. We know he's a eunuch. He had some trouble with some wizard guy cutting off his balls, and he just kind of has always not liked the crown. He's always plotting, and we see him try and work with Ned Stark to undermine the crown, the Baratheon Lannister crown. So I think he was working with Jon Arryn before he died in season 1 to kind of out Cersei Lannister, because her and Jaime had their kids, Joffrey, Tommen, and Marcella. But once Robert died and then Ned died, Varys didn't really have anything he could do left in King's Landing. So he, along with Tyrion Lannister, who he saw could be a great help, went to the Free Cities in Essos to meet his true queen, Daenerys Targaryen, who is probably, I'm thinking, his niece or cousin or something. I don't know exactly what, but I think Varys is actually a Targaryen, and he is going to represent the 3rd dragon in Game of Thrones. Just another, this probably doesn't mean anything, but his name is kind of like Aerys Targaryen, Varys Targaryen. It just kind of makes sense, and I think Game of Thrones likes to do stuff like that. So let me know what you think, if you think I'm completely crazy, or if maybe I am making some sense and you maybe agree with me. Let me know in the comments, and let's stay hyped for the season finale of season 6.